Hi. Over the weekend, I had the good luck of speaking to one of my old batchmates, and we were rehashing about the days of when we started our career, how much water has flown under the bridge, and during the discussions, we were also rehashing of, or we were rethinking of some of the definitive learnings and incidences which shaped our thoughts and career. So today, I will share with you one story which. Which happened to me when I started my career, and maybe something which you might find that of value or of interest. So I joined Glaxo in 1996 February as a management trainee. So in those days, Glaxo had a very robust management training. It is GSK now, but that time it was Glaxo. Very robust management training program where you were rotated for 9 months in various departments. So the last department where I was stationed was the market research department, and uh, market research department predominantly in those days involved two or three key tasks. There was not much of primary research happening, but secondary research would data from in those days ORG would come in a floppy, and you would have to take out reports. The formatting the floppy would run, and printed reports would be taken out. This the collation of so it was like a hardcore MIS, hard printed MIS, which will be going to the leadership of the company, the sales and marketing team basically. And apart from this, one of the key roles was also making presentations because Windows had come into the system, and PowerPoint was a big thing, and I learned how to use PowerPoint and make presentations. So that was something which used to take a lot of my time. But the story is not about that. So I got confirmed in market research department as a market research executive. There were two people in the team, with two very senior people. They were in the clerical staff. One I would call Mr. Rao, and one I would call Mrs. Verma. Both were at least, Mr. Rao was at least double my age at that time. I was 25 years old, 25, 26. And Mrs. Verma was close to retirement. So these two there, the team were there, and their job was to make sure that every month that hard print hard copy of the MIS of the uh, ORG data would come out, and that would be circulated. My job was to supervise that and ensure that that gets distributed. So with tables and all. And I was your typical brash with a freshly minted uh, B school degree. In those days, B Farm and MBA was a pretty rare combination. And here I was working for one of India's finest pharmaceutical companies. So I really felt that I have achieved everything. So bright and bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as they call it, with a whole lot of enthusiasm that I will change everything and I will rock the entire thing. I will make my dent in the universe, in the pharmaceutical universe. That used to be my driving passion. And like all of us, when we start our careers and everything, I think we forget hours, working hours. So in those days, I would reach office around 7:15, 7:30, and I would leave office by 8, 8:30. But that's a different story altogether. So, and here I had charge of my own team. And with all my ego and arrogance and my sense of achievement of having, fueled by the sense of achievement of having joined Glaxo, uh, I came across and saying, yes, do this, do that, do this. And with all due, when I look back in hindsight, it was the maturity of Mr. Rao and Mrs. Verma that they would listen. I remember one evening, the report had got delayed. And when I asked them, they said there was an issue. And I am ashamed to say I blew up. I spoke very rudely and I said, what the hell is this? This is not done. Can't even do one task a month we have to deliver the reports, and even that gets delayed. Nothing can happen without supervision. And I went off on a very different tangent. I could see that my words were hurting people, but I think I was too hot headed at that time to care. And all I could think was that my credibility as the team leader would get impacted if the reports don't come on time. The next day was the deadline, and this happened at 3:34 p.m. The staff would be leaving by 5 p.m. Contract bus. So as I was sitting and moping and wallowing in self-pity, both Mr. Rao and Mrs. Verma came and sat. Vikram, what's the matter? Why are you looking this sad? I said, obviously, the report has not come, and this will reflect very badly on my credibility and on my career. So, Mr. Rao said, Vikram, in all these 3-4 months when you have been with us, has the report ever been delayed? I said, no. Well, have you ever found a fault in the report? I said, no. So then he said, Vikram, have you ever appreciated that we could take out a report at that time and we could all the time we got a faultless report? Did you ever appreciate? And that was a slap on my face. And I realized I had never appreciated. I had taken them for granted. I said, I'm sorry. It was a heartfelt apology which came out. I said, I'm very sorry, Mr. Rao. I think I made a very big mistake. And don't worry, I will try to improve. I would ask you to forgive me and give me a chance that I can improve myself. And thank you for this lesson which you have given me. And we'll see about the report next time. Let's get the problem fixed. Don't worry if it's delayed. I will go and speak. I will tell the sales and marketing director that there was this issue, and we will give the report in a day or so. I won't forget what Mr. Rao told me. Mr. Rao told me, Vikram, this report will not be delayed. We have not let you down so far, and we will ensure that we will not let you down. We are going to sit tonight and we'll finish making the report. The problem has been resolved. The system is working. We'll finish the report. You can go home. You'll get the report tomorrow morning to oversee. And as you give your okay, by 9:30 in the morning, it will be on the desk of every single leadership team of the HO. And in those days, there was a system of overtime. So I was mentally calculating if they're going to sit all night, how much overtime will I have to sign. They said, look, somehow Mr. Rao read my thoughts. He said, Vikram, we will not be charging overtime. Let's get this report made. And needless to say, I also sat with them. And the report got made and we could take out the printouts. And sharp by 9:30, as per schedule, it was there on the desk of every single leadership member. Now, that was such a big learning where uh, sometimes we tend to take things for granted. We are so full of ourselves. I was so full of myself. I was so with a sense of achievement that I ran roughshod. I lacked empathy and I ran roughshod over my own team members. And but that marked a change in our relationship. I became more empathetic and we could talk. And the next thing, the magic started happening was that one day we were just sitting and discussing that how can we make this report more interesting, more these dull sets of figures which come out and are they really do they look interesting? Do they look like can they imbibe? Can they excite a person to read? And Mr. Rao came up with a suggestion. He said, "Can we make some put certain data into graphs, and instead of a black and white printout, since we are anyway taking out uh, in the once a month, can we at least invest in certain color printouts to be taken?" I said, that's a good idea. So we had a color cartridge. It was such very simple thing. And the next month's report, we ensured that there was some color page and there were few graphs. And my job was to go and hand the first copy of that report to the marketing director, who was basically the sales and marketing director of Glaxo India. When he saw the report, he said he was not a man, who would be very fulsome with praises. He had believed in a bit of restraint praising. So he looked and he said, "Oh, this is nice. So well done, Vikram." Friends, at that time, every cell of my body was screaming to take the credit. I was aching to take the credit. And I don't know what happened where I said, "Sir, thank you. But the real idea and the idea of the execution has come from Mr. Rao and Mrs. Verma." See, the marketing director was surprised. He said, "Oh, that's good. Please convey them my congratulations." At that time, I said, "Sir, I will do that, but it will mean a lot if you could just congratulate them yourselves." Friends, I will not forget what happened. The marketing director came out, and we had these cubicles where Mr. Verma and Mr. Rao and Mrs. Sharma were, Mrs. Verma were working. And he came out and he said, Rao, good job done. Madam, good job done. This is a good report. Thank you. And that was it. And he went off. And you cannot you cannot imagine what was the reaction and what was the impact those small words of appreciation coming from the marketing director made to the team. It just changed everything, and the whole body language changed, the behavior changed, the mood of the team changed. So this was something that when I reflected, this was a huge learning for me. One is always empathize with your team. I'm not saying it's okay that you make a mistake, but as a leader, it's okay to apologize and own up if you've made a mistake. Second, normally there, if obviously as a leader, if something has happened under your by your team, it is your credit. But make sure that the credit reaches your team sometimes right from the top. It will mean a lot of difference. It will enhance your credibility also as a leader. That yes, you are there to face the brick pads, but when the appreciation comes, can you pass it down the line? And the reward which you reap is of a well-knit, enthusiastic team which is charged in the work, which is having fun at work, and it clicks and it's a witness. And my whole aspect of working with the team changed. And I will always be thankful to Mr. Rao and Mrs. Verma for teaching me this and for showing this patience and for giving me these nuggets of leadership, which maybe I had not studied in or I had not imbibed when I was doing my B school. So think about it. Empathy, appreciation is something which is there, which should be there as a part of a leader. I will, in my next video, I will be talking about how I moved out of market research and what was one of very invaluable lesson of leadership, which was given to me by the head of sales, a very senior person in industry, which I carried forward, which became my compass even when I was leading a team in the field. So stay tuned for the next podcast. Thank you so much for watching, and in case you like it, please do feel free to subscribe and share. Your subscription, your comments would be a, as I always say, put a more of positive pressure where I can share my stories, where I can share my thoughts, which might help you or which might be of value to you. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye.